Hey everyone, it's Raspberry Stitcher. This is special episode number 2 for the Jessie Watson Autism SAL. So I am back again, same outfit, same day as my regular Flosstube. So how are you all? Anyway, I want to go over some of the progress I've made on Jessie. I've had so many people join in and so many people using the hashtag and showing it on their floss tubes and messaging me with their pictures and tagging me on Instagram. I am so thrilled that everybody is having fun with this SAL. So first I'm going to show you, if you don't know anything about it, so here it is. This is Jessie Watson by Hands Across the Sea. It is downloadable through Hands Across the Sea, and I think there are some shops that will download it and mail it to you also, so you can check that out. I think Hobby House Needleworks is one. I think Sassy Jacks even does that, maybe. I'm not sure, but check into that. So this is the overall picture. This is what we're working on. So in April, we are finishing this top row. You can do this border or not border. In May, we're going to do these 2 rows, and then June, July, August, and so forth. Okay. I am using a conversion that I got from Vicki Clayton, and these are the silks, and they are super duper luscious. I love them. I am enjoying stitching with them. These are Believer still available, so you can check that out. There's a conversion. She's also done a conversion of colors, so you can match the DMC up, and this chart has a list of DMC colors, and you can go to Vicki's site and match up those DMCs and just order those colors. But these are the ones that she sent for us when she put the conversion together. So I am right here. I still have a bit more to do for this month, so I did, if you watch my other episode, I had a little bit of a snafu, a little stitching mojo loss there. A few days that I didn't stitch, and I just kind of was exhausted after my trip going to see my daughter, and I haven't stitched quite as much, but I am rounding the corner here, and I should be done with that pretty quickly. You just need to fill those in, come over here, and then do that row across of those kind of like that really cute S's of the different, all of those. So that shouldn't be too much. I am using a 46 count Baby Sheep by XU Design. I'm pretty sure that's it. Let me double check. Now that I've said it, I'm pretty sure that is what I am stitching it on. And of course, I don't have the color in here, but I'm pretty sure that's it. So that's where I'm at, and we'll continue again as we go along. I am stitching this in honor of my son who has autism, and I did get to go see him yesterday, which was awesome, and some of you probably saw a few birthday pics of him, and I'm going to try to insert some at the end of this video because his birthday was on the 11th, and we spent the afternoon with him, took up a cake and presents, and just spent some fun time with him. I got to go yesterday, and my husband was working, but my sister-in-law went with me, and we had a great time while we were there. He seemed a little stressed. He kept wanting hugs from me, and he seemed a bit overwhelmed. And so when I came home, I talked to my husband, I told him, and he goes, "So are we expecting a call with some screaming?" And I go, "Probably." That's exactly what happened last night. So even though my sister-in-law thought he was doing great and it was a super visit, I could tell he was a little stressed being his mother. And I knew we were probably going to get a call with him screaming and being super upset and sad. And that is what happened. So lesson is that you have ups and downs. I kind of want to just talk about the ups and downs that happen there, sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, monthly, yearly, every 2 or 3 years. I remember in school, kindergarten went great. It's such a nice time. I mean, he did so fabulous. He was in 2 different kindergartens. Went to 1st grade. We had total issues, backwards, screaming, couldn't stay in the classroom. It was just a mess. Go to second grade, great again, super good time. Third grade, couldn't do it. It was a mess again. It was just, oh my goodness. So much of a mess that he was sent to a different school. He had more one-on-one help. Eventually came back to his home school in fifth grade, and he did really well in fifth grade. We went to sixth grade, which was a new building, and started out, it was a little up and down, and he had an aide for a while, and that aide was just not meshing. They weren't meshing together, so we got a different aide, and it went great. 6th, 7th, 8th, it was like, whoo, I couldn't believe it. He was doing so well. He was interacting. He was communicating better. He was doing all these wonderful things. We get to high school, starts out okay. It was a difficult transition in the fact that his resource teacher that he was assigned to ended up getting cancer, a reoccurrence, and so she wasn't there, and they had to eventually get a new resource aide, which took time. So his one-on-one aide, thank goodness, was there to support him. He started out with doing, pretty well. He was in some regular, typical classroom, and he was in some helper classrooms. And he just, as the year went on, started to have more behaviors, have difficulties, just wasn't kind of connecting. The next year was even worse. The next year we put him in a special school, still was getting worse. And that's when eventually we had to, a few years ago, put him in a residential facility for a year. It was a locked facility. Definitely one of the hardest things we've done. The summer before that was the hardest summer we ever had as a family. It was the year my daughter was graduating high school, going into college. He couldn't be left home alone at all. So my husband and I were trying to work both full time, and he was having behaviors on and off all day long. And we were on pins and needles, eggshells all day. I mean, it was the most stressful time in my whole life. It took us from basically starting his freshman year through almost his junior year, almost 3 years, to finally get some sort of help for him. Mostly because the way the system is set up, it just takes a long time to prove that your child needs this type of help, the level of care that they need. And while that's trying to be worked out, it's back and forth from the school, from the state, who do you contact? Each state is slightly different, but it was definitely the most difficult thing I had to figure out and realize as a parent that I couldn't give my son what he needed at that time. I will say I'm very thankful for family that tried to come and help and stay with him. But unfortunately, he had gotten to an age where he was bigger than everyone almost. He's 5'10", 5'11", and about 150, 60 pounds, probably 10 or 60 now. And it was very difficult because he did get physical. He did, throw things, break things, try to hit us, running, trying to jump out of our car, he did jump out of our 2-story window. So there were a lot of things that happened. We had to call the police multiple times. The police knew us. They were very kind and helped us as much as they could. And they would ask, what do you want us to do? And we'd say, we have to go to the hospital. They send us to the hospital. The hospital would evaluate him and decide whether he could be sent home or whether they could find a, short-term placement for him to get him, quote, back, to quote, normal or whatever that is, to a state where he could come home again. So they would work on medication and behaviors and whatnot. And unfortunately, some of them didn't have placements that they thought he was suited for. We went to a couple different ones. He had 4 stays in one summer. And finally, it got to the point where they realized they couldn't take him home. We had to find a permanent solution. We found one it wasn't necessarily the best solution, but it was at least a place where he could be safe. It was what we thought could be safe. He was there almost a year. During the middle of the pandemic, they decided that he'd been there a year and they couldn't help him. And they basically left us up to us to find somewhere to place him. So we were panicked in the middle of the pandemic, trying to call multiple places that were even open, that would even take anyone. We finally got a hold of our resources here in our state, and they did deem that he was needing a facility of the highest level of what they call a group home, and that is where he's at now. So he started there last year. Probably he's not quite been there a year, but it's probably been 10 months or so. And he's doing a lot better there. He's fitting in better. He's, only 4, sorry, that's my dog, 4 other residents. They have high level care, 3 caregivers during the day and 2 overnight. Unfortunately, it is 2 hours away from us, so it takes us a full day to drive down there, spend a few hours, drive back. It's a full, 7-8 hour day for us. But of course we do it because we love him. We try to go at least every 3 weeks. I would like to go more than that. It's difficult with, now we have vaccinations and he's vaccinated. And so I'm hoping we'll be able to do more. I'm hoping at some point we'll be able to take him on some short outings, maybe take him to lunch once things are a little easier to go and do those things at and see how it goes. But as you can tell, as yesterday, he had a huge outburst and called, and of course it hurt my heart a little bit. You never want your children to suffer or hurt or be upset, and he just calls and cries for his mommy. But he is a good, sweet boy. He just needs to learn how to deal with his feelings. But I wanted just to talk about there's cycles of growth and setbacks in autism, and probably with most disabilities. You get to a point that you think things are going well, and then it just kind of crashes and crumbles right in front of you. And that's what happened to us, especially going into high school. It was a huge, huge setback that we still haven't recovered from. I mean, he's still not living with us. And that's been very difficult for me and my husband and for our family and for our son. My in-laws, my mother, my stepmother, his grandparents, his aunt and uncles have not seen him in some of them over a year, some over 2 years. And it's been very difficult for them and for us to, not physically see our son. So I just wanted to let people know that parents or families that have a child or brother, sister, whatever it is, niece, nephew with a disability, there's always ups and downs. And just listening, not even really saying anything, can be really helpful to those family members. I know just somebody listening to what I'm saying and just being like, okay, tell me about it. I don't have to have an answer for anything, but just letting it out and expressing it, it relieves a lot of anxiety and pain and sorrow and kind of like frees you and lets you get back to a state where you can go, okay, I can move forward now and deal with the next thing I need to deal with. It's super helpful. So that's my little tip, is just be a listener. Being a listener is super important without giving advice, without doing anything else, and just being a comfort to that person and being like, I bet that's really rough to go through. I bet that's really hard. And not being really sorry for them, but just, letting them be open with you if you're willing to do that. So that's my little tip. In my regular floss tube, I had a cross stitch behind me, and this is a cross stitch that I'm going to get framed this year for my son that I made for him. So I wanted to show you all. Let me grab the forgot to put that down here. I had a friend who took an idea that I had. My son loves country music, country posters, like all that kind of stuff. So I gave him a country music festival poster, and I said, "Can we make this into a cross stitch?" And he has a software to do that. So he did that for me. This was the original design. So it says Country Music Festival. We put my son's name in it and his birth date, kind of like a birth sampler. And then what I did was I found some fabric so I wouldn't have to stitch all of this, right? This is all to be stitched. And I was like, I'll never finish that if I have to stitch that whole thing, right? Like, who's going to do that? Some people would. I know they do full coverage. I'm not a full coverage girl. This was about as close as I could get, and I didn't do full coverage. So this is the sampler I made for him. I did the whole border, and I started stitching some of the corners, and then I decided, you know, I'm just going to go up and kind of just come in here and stitch some areas. You know, I did the guitar, most of it. I mean, I filled in a lot, but you can see there's spaces I didn't fill in. I added the stars. I outlined some stars. I actually drew in some of these, what look like more like sheriff stars. I've thought about putting them up here. I don't know what you guys think. I could go back and do that. But I kind of liked the negative space of the fabric. I just kind of filled some of this in with some of the red instead of doing a background of red. So this is what I'm going to have framed for him. We're actually going to redo his room this year, this summer, while he's away, and country music themed. So I've got some other posters and things that he's gotten over the years, and we're gonna get a new bed in there and a full bed. He had a twin, so it's a little too small for him. He needs a bigger bed. So we're going to get a new bed. I've already gotten some sheets and some comforters, some things like that. And then I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby, has some great wall art that has music themed stuff. So I'm going to grab some of that. We're going to paint. I'd like to do red, black, and gray with, you know, like a light gray accents in there. And that's the bedding I got. So when I get that done, it probably won't be until the end of the summer because I'm not so good at following through. Like, I need so much time to do stuff, I tell you, mostly because I would rather just sit here and stitch. But I'm going to try to get this done, but I'm going to put this up in there for him. And I think that he will really, really love it. Like when I went and visited him yesterday, I forgot one of his presents from his uncle, which was a CD. And we basically listened to the whole CD while we were there. So, and he sang the whole time, and we just had a really nice afternoon with him. But that is that part. And no crying this time. I'm going to be good. But I thought I would show you that fun thing that I had made, and then just let you know where I was on the SAL. I should be caught up by the end of this week. That is my goal. So I should be ready for part 2. Again, of the Jessie Watson SAL. And so many of you, I just can't thank you enough for joining in, following along, listening to me ramble about autism, and just being a support. The other thing I want to talk about is we had a wonderful start to the SAL on Facebook Room, which is like Zoom. And I am going to be doing that again on May 1st, Saturday, May 1st. And what I've decided, because I have some people that really want to join in, but they're on like opposite time zone. So some of my international friends on Instagram and stuff. And so what I'm going to do is on that day where I'm going to do one Eastern Standard Time at 7 a.m. and Eastern Standard Time at 8 p.m. So that way I can get some international people, and then the later dates, some more international people, and then of course our West Coast friends that don't want to get up in the middle of the night because 7 a.m. for them, my time would be like, you know, a bit early, maybe like 4 a.m. I believe for them. So I don't think they're getting up at 4 a.m. But it would be, you know, like I think 5 p.m. in the afternoon for them for the 8 p.m. one Eastern time. So it's going to be May 1st. It is going to be 7 a.m. Eastern time and 8 p.m. Eastern time. So 7 a.m. Eastern time and 8 p.m. Eastern time. And if you would like to join us in stitching and just the fellowship of talking and all that kind of fun stuff, through Instagram or Messenger. Instagram, I am Raspberry Stitcher. On Facebook, I am Barbara Renault, and I will link the information below. So you can message me through either of those, and I will send you the link to the actual Facebook room. And then at that time on that day, if you click the link, you will open up into what looks like a Zoom room, and then we can stitch and talk. So I hope you join me. And like I said, just message me and I will get you the link. I'm going to be setting that up probably tomorrow, probably not today, but tomorrow I'll be setting that up on Monday. Today is Sunday, the 25th, by the way. And we'll see you then. So I'm hoping more of you can join me. I had a really wonderful time last time. There was like about 6 or 7 of us off and on. Usually when I get on, I'll probably stitch for 2 to 3 hours. So I'll be on there for a little while, and then again, I'll do that at 7. I'll probably be on there till around 10, and then that evening, I will probably be on there till the last person wants to leave. Since it's Saturday, I'll just stay up till whenever, most likely. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining my SAL, for supporting me, for just having fun. It's been a super fun group, and I appreciate all the shout outs I've gotten on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. The love is just continual and truly appreciated. Bye, guys.
Yep. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ayrton. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Excellent work.
Good job, honey.
Excellent work.
All right.